What's up, guys? FM Campbell here, and welcome to episode 17 of the Man United series. We're fairly cracking on now with this series. I asked a question in the last episode whether you want me to continue this series. Obviously, we reached episode 16 where we managed to achieve the sextuple, which was Champions League, Premier League, League Cup, FA Cup, Super Cup, and the Club World Championship. So that's 6 trophies we managed to win last season. I asked whether you want me to carry on. Some people said yes, some people said no, some people have suggested alternatives. I'm going to continue to keep this save going as long as I can. I'll probably keep, obviously, all saves will probably stop when the new, when FM15 comes out, which has been announced. It's going to be released in November. So you'll get a first look at that through me. I should hopefully be getting a copy at the release minute, essentially, same as what I did with this one. So fingers crossed, you should be able to see the first look, or the first look episode through myself. So I'm going to literally unbox it and then open it as if you were opening it, basically. But anyway, back to this series. So I decided I'm going to carry this on. It might not be as consistent as normal, as I'm going to try and get some other episodes of different things and different ideas that I have within the channel. For example, the first season playthrough of different teams that people are suggesting for me to do. There's been a save of that already with Inter Milan. I've got a couple of episodes of them coming up over the next sort of 2 weeks, along with this series as well. But let's get straight into it and let's see where we left off. So we left off here, where we just beat Norwich 2-0 in the Premier League. So we'll continue on through here through fixtures, and then I'll go into a little bit of detail about what this episode is sort of going to illustrate and what I'm doing at the moment. So we had the Super Cup against Newcastle, who obviously won the Europa League, and we beat them 3-0. Januzaj, Quintero, and Barbosa scoring for us. Battered them, basically. We were absolutely all over. We also had an injury to James Ward-Prowse. Then we had Everton in the league, where we had Valanta, Quintero, and Barbosa getting on the score sheet, and we beat them 3-1 at Old Trafford. We then had our first game in the Champions League against Dynamo Moscow. Just to let you know, in the group stages, we had Dynamo Moscow, PSG, and Stuttgart. We beat Dynamo Moscow 4-1 away as well. Marco Reus, Januzaj, Lamela and Volland all scoring. Then look at that, we got battered. I don't know what happened. We just sort of fell apart by Arsenal. We got battered by them 5-1 at the Emirates. Januzaj getting the consolation goal. And as you can see, look at that for performances. It's by far the worst, I think, performance I've ever had with this Man United team. I honestly couldn't understand it. We missed 2 penalties, and I think we hit the post 2 or 3 times as well. It was just one of them games where one-on-ones the keeper seems to save them, and you just knew it wasn't going to go. But 5-1 was a little bit embarrassing. I think it went down to 3-1, and then I just sort of went for it, and they just got another 2 last minute late on. So a bit embarrassing, but we moved on pretty quickly. And we moved on to a 3-0 result, a 3-0 win at home against Stoke in the Capital One Cup third round. Quintero getting 1 and Barbosa scoring twice. Then we beat Watford in the league as we returned to league fixtures. We beat Watford 2-0, Barbosa and Lucas Moura scoring. Then our second game of the Champions League, where we beat PSG 4-2. Lucas Moura getting 2, Barbosa and then own goals. The own goals are still continuing on. Villa 2-0. We beat them away. So Villa Park, Kevin Volland and Lucas Moura scoring. Then we beat Sheffield United 3-0 at home. Valanta, Volland and another own goal. Then we battered Stuttgart 5-0 in our third game of the Champions League in Group B. Doria, Barbosa and Lamela scoring. Then we lost 1-0 to Huddersfield, a strange result, at home as well, which was never very good, especially against a team of that calibre. So obviously no one scoring for us. Then we beat Nottingham Forest 3-0 in the Capital One Cup fourth round, where we Balanta, Quintero and Barbosa scoring for a 3-0 result. Then we drew 1-1 with Newcastle in the league, and it was Barkley on the score sheet. Then we beat Stuttgart in our, that's our return fixture. Yep, they beat them 2-0. Lamela scoring twice. That doesn't make sense. Did Lamela miss 2 penalties? Joe, I can't even remember on this one. Let's have a look. Right, so Lamela missed 2 penalties and scored. And we had 10 men. And we still beat them 2-0 away. So we missed 2 penalties as well. Where are we? So we're here. Then we returned to the Premier League, where we beat Swansea 2-0 away. Marco Reus and Barkley scoring. Then we beat Hull 3-0 at home. Reus, Barkley again, and then Lamela scoring. Then we smashed Dynamo Moscow 7-0. Volland getting 2, Lamela on a hat-trick, Quintero getting 1, and Balanta getting 1. Then back in the league, we beat Tottenham 1-0 with a Barkley goal. Then we beat PSG in the last group game. We beat them 2-0, Januzaj and Lamela scoring, and that ended up leaving the group like this, where we smashed it. We scored 24 goals in 6 games. We only conceded 3, so a plus 21 goal difference. Won all of our games, 18 points. So we doubled Stuttgart's points tally to qualify. And luckily PSG went out, so that's quite good to get rid of them out of the fixtures going forward. So that obviously then put us through to the next round, where we drew against, who did we draw? I think we drew Napoli, which we haven't played yet, obviously. Club World Championship semi-final, Al Ali, I'm guessing they're called. Yeah, Al Ali. We beat them 4-0 with Balanta getting 2. Balanta, Januzaj, and then Barbosa getting 2. Then we played the Club World Championship final. So we won another trophy. Santos this time. So this is our 2nd trophy this season after the Super Cup. So we played Santos, beat them 1-0 with a single Barbosa goal. Then we had the Capital One Cup quarter final, where we beat Bolton 4-1. Barkley with a hat-trick and Januzaj scoring 1. Then we beat Cardiff 4-0. Quintero with a hat-trick and Barbosa getting another goal. Then we beat Southampton in the league 1-0. Phil Jones with a single goal. Then we lost, after a good run, we lost our away game against Reading in the league 1-0. So no goal scorers. Then we drew 0-0 with Stoke. And then we beat Nottingham Forest in the FA Cup 3rd round 3-1. Pugliese and Barkley getting 2. Then the Capital One Cup semi-final. Now this is quite interesting. We beat City 3-0, absolutely smashed them. Luke Shaw with a goal and Barbosa with 2. Then we'd have 2 0-0 draws, one against QPR and one against Arsenal, both in the league. And then we had the return fixture, and look at that. After beating them 3-0 at home, somehow this game has managed to figure this out, and they've perfectly beat us 4-0 away. So no goal scorers. Losing 4-0 away to City is never very good, which was a bit disappointing. It also means that we didn't make the final of the Capital One Cup, so we lost the Capital One Cup semi-final 4-3 on aggregate, which means City progress and we only reached the semi-final. So no Capital One Cup this season. QPR we then played in the FA Cup 4th round, beat them 4-0. Barkley scoring, Januzaj, Marco Reus and Phil Jones. And then finally we played Chelsea, where we lost 2-0 in the league. So no goal scorers. So we've had a bit of a blip sort of from here to here. Reading up to Chelsea, where we've lost 3, drawn 3 and won 3. Especially after such a good run. I mean, with the odd game, obviously, they lose and we throw in. But like I said, we drew Napoli in the Champions League in the knockout stages. And the teams that went through, obviously, Stuttgart from our group will play Chelsea. Porto will play Barcelona. Vitesse somehow have qualified and will play Schalke. Atletico will somehow play FC Lorient. Real Madrid against Liverpool. Juventus against Bayern. Monaco against City. And then ourselves against Napoli. So a lot of big teams are still in it, but are playing each other. Bayern, Juventus are one of the big notable ones. Monaco, City, another one. Real Madrid and Liverpool. But other than that, you'd expect Chelsea, Barcelona, Schalke, Atletico to all progress. Probably Real Madrid. Juventus and Bayern are hard to call. Probably Bayern. City will probably be Monaco, and hopefully we can obviously get a result against Napoli. The league itself, because of a lot of the games that we've had, we are sat in 6th at the moment because of a lot of the cup competitions that we've additionally had to play, like the Club World Championship and the Super Cup. A lot of our games have been delayed, so we are 4 games behind top. on 40 points. So if we had our 4 games on and we managed to win them all, fingers crossed, it'll take us 4 points clear. So that's just an example. Going forward, what else have we done? Let's speak about the transfer window. Let's just get straight into the transfer window, and we'll see what we've done. As you've seen in the title, I've started to try and build for the future. Basically, I want to get as many youngsters in of the highest standard that are either going to be potential moneymakers or no-brainer first-team starters. So I've tried to get as many sort of... They're obviously they're going to be regens at this stage. So players that have gone out, that aren't too many, really. A lot of the players that obviously we got on a free or joined us in the last window, in the window at the end of the season, I've managed to now get them out on loan because they'd only just joined the club. Other clubs were quite sort of hesitant to go in and try and get our players because they'd only joined the club, basically. So players that we've loaned out, as you can see, Terry Canner, I think this is a regen. Yep, Terry Canner. There's a couple of players that weren't playing enough football for the current club that they're at, or they're being played out of position quite often. So I recalled them and sent them out on loan again. Excuse me. Jamie Summers gone out on loan, another regen. Striker. Harry Flynn, 17-year-old right back, doesn't look too bad at all. Memphis Depay, who's one of the players that we got on a free at the end of the season. So he's already worth 7.25 million at the age of 23. Looks like a very good player, to be honest with you, although he's currently injured. He's got out on loan to Freiburg. Tonini I recalled and sent him back out. You'll probably recognise him from previous episodes. Massimiliano Leschini, signed this guy. How much? I think I spent a bit of money on him. 6.25 million. He's a goalkeeper. Just because of that, basically, I don't have a goalkeeper. Now he's rated to be 5-star. I can't quite see it at this stage, but apparently he is. And I was like, okay, well, we'll get him. I've got a lot of money. I might as well just get him in. Send him out on loan. Straight away, it was Barcelona, Real Madrid, Monaco and Arsenal all wanted to play him as a key player. Obviously, he's only just gone, so he hasn't had a chance to play. As a key player, I was a little bit confused about this, so whether you've got any answers for this, I mean... and it was Chelsea as well, sorry. So they've got Sirigu, Ortola, Leschini already... Well, they've got these two as their options in goal. So for them to have as a key player, I was a bit confused because obviously as a key player he's going to be their main starter. So does that mean they're going to drop Sirigu or something? I wasn't too sure, but I wanted him out as a key player. They're paying all of his wages. All of my loans are always having all their wages paid. So what else have we done? As you can see, Manuel Arenco, you probably recognise him, I think. Yeah, he went on loan to Sampdoria, wasn't being played enough. He was actually being played out of position. So I've brought him back and sent him back out on loan, starting to look like a very good player. He's actually a 5-star player recommendation. Then we have Ben Cohen, who I brought back and sent back out on loan. Also starting to look like quite a good player for a 17-year-old. Natural fitness is a bit of a concern though. Aaron Leia Eseka, recalled him and sent him back out on loan. He's now first team at Wigan. He was not playing enough football at Wolves, basically. Then Marco Asensio also went out on loan to Wolves. I recalled him, sent him back out, and look at his value, it's already going up. We signed him on a free, 2 years ago, went on loan to Wolves. He was played a lot, scored only 3, but his average rating wasn't that great and actually started to drop in quite a bit. So I've brought him back, sent him back out. Ben Cohen, which I spoke about. And the last one is Hiram Guerrero, who I signed in this window. We don't want a private chat with him yet. Signed him for 9 million, but he's 5-star potential. So I'm quite looking forward to see how he gets on. He's gone on loan to Ajax, first team, obviously playing on his wages. So I'm quite looking forward to see what we can do with him in the future. We've got Massimiliano Leschini. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. I say hope, it's a fake name. He come in from Cagliari, as I mentioned, 6.25 million. He's now gone on loan to Barcelona. Maroud Adra, centre midfielder, 16 years old, massive amounts of potential, 4.5 star. Like I said, centre midfielder, 16. He looks like an absolute player. He's got a lot of places that I'd like to sort of work on and improve, but he's got the basic standards there to look quite good, especially as a moneymaker if I wanted to. Paul Tapia, he is 19 years old. His natural fitness is a little bit of concern. 4.5 star potential, so still loads of potential to him. He's a striker. We signed him for 8.25 million from Pumas, Mexican, and he just looks pretty good, to be honest with you. I'm just going to keep him in the reserves and playing for the under 18s as much as possible, and then hopefully we'll get him out on loan pretty soon to get him some game time. Fabrice Soulier, look at them physical stats. Defensive midfielder, 15 years old, so he's really young. He's still on a youth contract, so I'm not paying him much at the moment, but obviously he's got a pre-signed deal that he'll kick in. Deep line playmaker and a holding midfield option. I really like this guy, 50, just because of them physical stats. Balance, look at that balance. That is just unbelievable. So I'm really impressed with him. That's a great little find. 5.5 million from Stade Rennais. Brian Cristante played for Milan. He's the only player that's not a regen that we signed in this window. I actually signed him on a pre-contract, but he was playing in the reserves for Milan, and I wanted to get him in as quick as possible and get him some game time. He's likely to be just a reserve player for ourselves, but with our training facilities, he's going to improve a lot quicker. And I might try and get him out to an affiliated club pretty quickly. Probably going to be a money maker. He's 4-star, deep line playmaker. We've got a lot of cover in that position with Kovacic. Pugliese can play there. Goretzka and Ward-Prowse is obviously a deep line playmaker as well. So we've probably got 4 players that can all do that role already before him. So going forward, I need to sort of take a step back and a bit of analysis and analyse what we want to do with that position. Hiram Guerrero, who I've already mentioned, he's gone on loan to Ajax. Natural fitness is slightly concerning. Other than that, striker, he looks across the board. He's actually a 5-star potential player. Maximilian Klein, another 5-star potential player. Doesn't look it from looking at this. He's a striker, French. We bought him for 6 million. Spent quite a bit of money on him for a 15-year-old. He doesn't look like all that from this sort of standard, but when I see this, which is a very rare thing to find, especially as it's comparing against your current strikers, which is the likes of Gabriel Barbosa, Kevin Volland, you know he's going to be good. So going forward, hopefully try and get him some game time soon. Now we'll go into what the team looks like and what we're doing at the moment. Obviously we've got Nicola Leali and David De Gea as our goalkeeping options. Obviously De Gea is our first choice, with Leali our backup goalkeeper. I like Leali. He's a very good player. He's a very good backup option. I think probably going forward he's going to want to be sold, especially as he gets older. So I'll probably get a regen, maybe the regen that we have brought in that's gone to Barcelona, who is Massimiliano Lascini. So we'll see what happens there going forward. Obviously this is, just to let you know guys, this is a section where I need your advice. Well, what would you do in this situation? I've got a couple of predicaments I want to go through. We've got Gino Peruzzi. He's 25. I really like him. He's still my first choice right back. He's just been smashing it all the time. Average rating is 7.41. So he's my first choice, with Oscar Ramos, who's a regen, as my second choice. He's still not quite obviously at his potential. He's only 2.5 star at the moment, but he's a good second choice, and he was a superb replacement for Nathaniel Klein. Left backs, we've probably got the 2 best left backs on the game, especially youngster wise. Luke Shaw is just tearing it up this season. He is so good. 7.71 average rating. He's rotating with Jonathan Silva as often as possible. They're both 3-star current ability, but there you go. Jonathan Silva looks very good as well. Luke Shaw's kind of performing a little bit better, so I'm getting him to play more games probably than Jonathan Silva, especially as Jonathan Silva is older. But it's just a rotation game really with them two. When Jonathan Silva hits his potential, that's when we'll obviously have to think about reviewing things. Whether it'll be a regen, I don't know. Probably getting towards that stage, but there is a lot of interest in Jonathan Silva, especially in the likes of Real Madrid. So money-wise, we'll have to review that. Edo Alvarez Balanta, still battering it, 7.37 average rating. He's starting to look like a real good player. You can go back to previous episodes and do like a comparison to what he used to look like stats-wise to what he does now. Perhaps that's something they can introduce in the new FM, maybe, what the stats were originally like when you got hold of the player or at the start of the game, just as a comparison. Doria, to be honest with you, he looks like better stat-wise than he does than Alvarez Balanta does, but his potential is obviously not as high. But he is younger, which is strange. But I like Doria just because he can header and he can jump, which seems to be a massive thing in FM14. If a defender can header and jump, a lot of the stuff that's played into him is in the air. So it's a win-win. Tinye Advaj, I actually kept him in because Phil Jones was injured at the beginning of the season, if you remember. He is my 5th choice centre back. Probably going to look to get him out on loan and some first team football. There has been a little bit of interest in him, as you can see. He's wanted by a club currently now, by Everton, but the likes of Juventus and Barcelona have been inquiring throughout the window. We did buy him, we did spend a bit of money on him. We spent 13 million on him all these years ago, so we'll see what we do going forward. Obviously I want to get him out on loan. I'm not going to sell him for the value. They were offering about 12 to 15 million. I'm probably going to want the likes of about 30. That's probably my target. Phil Jones is suspended. He is now captain now that Rooney has left, and just look at them stats. He's a very, very good player. Shame he can't jump. Well, he can jump, but his jumping reach isn't that great. But at the minute, he's my first choice centre back out of all of them. And then I'd say probably Balanta rotates with Doria and this guy Kurt Zouma, who is starting to look like an absolute unit. Look at that strength for a 23-year-old, 18, jumping 18, heading 17, determination, which I love in a player, 19. So going forward, it probably looks to be him and Phil Jones that might be filling that centre-back role. For the centre midfield, we'll move on to the right side of centre midfield. Obviously, we're playing a 4-2-3-1. I play Lucas Romero on the right-hand side. Although he's a deep line playmaker, I am retraining him to be a box-to-box midfielder. 25 million at least. I really, really like him. Considering we signed him for 6.25 million all them years ago, he is one of my preferred players in the starting lineup. Bayern Munich bid a lot on him, often as well. The other choice for the right hand side is Mario Pugliese, who is also a wanted man. Signed him, remember, for a compensation fee of 650k in our first season, and I'm telling you now, he is starting to look like a really good player. Starting to try and rotate him a little bit again. He could play deep line playmaker, which most of my centre midfielders' natural player role is deep line playmaker. But I'm trying to get him as either a box to box or a ball winning midfielder. Like I said, he's only 21 though, so we've got plenty of time to do so. Our left hand side of centre midfield, we have options of this man, Kovacic. Really, really like Kovacic. 4.5 star potential. He's probably my better out of the 3 deep line playmakers. Potential wise, is probably between Kovacic and this man, James Ward-Prowse. I especially like him because he's English, he's still young, his value is continuing to grow, and so are his stats, and I'm just very impressed with him, so I'm rotating him in as much as I can. He plays mostly plays all the cup games. Then our third choice is Leon Goretzka. He's probably he was my first choice, but he's probably my third choice, or rotating second choice with Ward-Prowse. 22 years old still, so still very, very young, but there's been a lot of interest in him as well. I kind of like him because he is my option to have as a defensive midfielder. He's in here, and still a deep line playmaker as well. So, bit of a predicament there, because one of my main targets, who I'm trying hard to get of, who I mentioned in the last episode, is Paul Pogba. And he's the best deep line playmaker on the game, really. Very, very hard to get a hold of him. I'm bidding up of about 80 million and it's getting rejected. So I think I've just got to kind of hope that I can get someone or get him persuaded to actually sign for the club. But it's very, very hard. So if you've signed him, let me know in the comment section below how much you got him for and I should probably say congratulations, because he is amazing, so hard to get hold of. So we'll move to the right hand side of midfield, or the attacking midfield right hand side. I've got a choice, a very fortunate choice of Lucas Moura, who's actually dropped in his report rating from assistant manager. His stats aren't really growing that much, to be honest with you. And I'm going to be honest, I am potentially, if I can get a good price for him, looking forward to getting rid of him. Because obviously we've got him, and then we've got Lamela on the right, who's my first choice right hand side, who's absolutely unbelievable. He's still 4.5 star potential. But I like Oxlade-Chamberlain, who's an English option for it, which is always a bonus. And he's starting to look very good, the Ox. So if I can rotate Lucas Moura out and get some good money for him, I'll probably look to get Oxlade-Chamberlain in and have it between him and Januzaj. Moving to the left, Lamela. Moving to the left hand side, we will look at Januzaj. Look at Januzaj, it's just ridiculous. Just take a moment to actually realise how good he is starting to look. I know people have moaned about how overpowered he is, but he is one of the best prospects in the United team currently. Not that there's much to compare it up to, maybe. So, but regardless, this is the way the game's dealt him, and he is unbelievable. Absolutely ridiculous. His average rating has actually gone down. It was 8.02, and that was the only player that was above him, who was 8.04, was Lionel Messi. So I have been playing him on the left hand side and rotating him with Royce, who is still looking okay, but he's 28 now, and he's going to probably be wanting a new contract soon, as his contract will expire at the end of next season. But we can get some money for him at the end of the season. My main target, it would have been Gareth Bale, but he wants in upwards of about 450 grand a week, which, although we can afford it, I refuse to pay when there's probably better alternatives. But the guy I would like to replace Marco Reus is the one and only, and I wish United signed him in the first place when we were rumoured to be going in for him, Eden Hazard. If I can get Eden Hazard on the left and have a choice of Eden Hazard and Januzaj, it would be absolutely unbelievable. So we'll see what happens, but Marco Reus at 28 still hasn't hit his full potential. So we'll have to see what happens there, but I'd like to get quite a bit of money for Reus, especially as we had to pay 29 million up front, or 29.5 million up front as his release clause. But again, Eden Hazard is so hard to get. So hard. There's a reason why I haven't got any players really big names in this window, and it's because I've been trying my hardest. They just won't come to me. And especially after winning Champions Leagues, and it's very confusing, but if you know a way or an alternative that I can go and get him, then let me know, put it in the comment section. So we move into the middle. Our English option is Ross Barkley, who I'm very impressed with. He's doing very well. 7.41 his first season, 10 goals in 14 starts, should I say. And I'm enjoying working with Ross Barkley. He's starting to look like quite a good player. Still only 24. And we'll just see how we get on with him. The other alternative option was Fernando Quintero. Now, if I could get hold of Hazard, what I wanted to do is either rotate and try and get Augustin Allione, who's out on loan at the moment, or what's his name? Our other right midfielder, the Serbian, the youngster that we got on a free for compensation, Andrija Zivkovic. I'd like to maybe rotate them in, and then I'd sell Royce and Quintero. I'd move Januzaj inside and rotate him with Barkley, and then I'd have on the left Hazard and either Zivkovic or Allione, or if I can get another left-hand sided player, I'm not too sure. But at the minute, Januzaj and Royce are on my left side. They are natural in that position, but obviously Januzaj, I mean, he's also natural in the central attacking midfielder role. So you can see my predicaments that I'm trying to figure out here, but Eden Hazard is the main guy I want on the left. It'll either be Royce will go, and it'll be Hazard and Januzaj, or it'll be Quintero and Royce will go. Sorry, Quintero and Royce will go, and would move Januzaj in. Either find another left-hand sided player and Hazard, or get one of our loanees to try and break into the first team. So then up front, at the moment, now this is you're probably gonna be very surprised by this. I only have 2 strikers, and I've only had 2 strikers since the beginning of the season. So it just shows you people with up to 5 and 6 strikers, you don't need them, and they only moan because they're supposed to be the biggest name in your team, really. Obviously, we've had Volland for a while. Now I'm rotating Volland quite often with Barbosa. Now Volland, he's starting to moan about contracts. He's still got 3 years left. He's on 140 grand. I went to offer him a new one. He wanted 220 grand. And he's very, very oftenly wanted by Bayern. And last season they offered 44 million. So there's a little spoiler for last season. And I rejected it. Now, I probably should have took it, but there wasn't an alternative for me to get. The alternative I did want to get was Lukaku. But Lukaku is another player that I'm finding ridiculously hard to get hold of. So I'd have Barbosa, Lukaku, and then I was going to keep Vieto, but I didn't need Vieto because the 2 of them are rotating. And because they rotate, they're in great condition all the time. And I'm not getting any injuries. Touch wood, I don't get any injuries. But Barbosa is absolutely amazing. He is so good. 21 years old. He's scoring all the time. He's got 17 and 26. He's already wanted by a club. He's wanted by Everton. And he is unbelievable. Average rating is 7.21. That's come down. As you can see, he's had a 5-game spin where he's not done very well at all, really. So I've actually dropped him temporarily for Volland. But so you can imagine how high this was. I think it was about 7.8, 7.9 in that sort of region. But yeah, he's been absolutely unbelievable. So going forward, that's the team. Staff-wise, has anything else happened? No, I don't think so. We might have a few scouts have come in since then. I can't really remember, to be honest with you. One thing to add: Brian Robson is retiring, so we will have to look for a new assistant manager very, very soon. Whether we get rid of Brian Robson straight away or we just wait until the end of the season, I'm not too sure. We'll see what happens, but we'll have to start thinking about an assistant manager very soon. The league, I've obviously told you about. What other competitions have we managed to get ourselves? Capital One Cup semi-final, we would have played Chelsea, so it's actually Man City against Chelsea in the final of the Capital One Cup. Next round of the FA Cup, we have West Brom in the 5th round. Then obviously you know about Napoli in the Champions League, and you know the teams that are left. Not got a lot of games to go. How far are we through the season? We're past the halfway point by 2 games, so we're just over the halfway point. Everyone else is a little bit further forward. Shortlist wise, I'll give you a little bit of a. As I said, Paul Pogba is one of the main ones because he is ridiculous. But I'm offering all sorts of money, and it's just tough to get hold of him, especially when. Oh, that's the wrong player. Especially when he's sort of in this region of wanting to come to the club. If I can get that up to about here, it might be a little bit easier. Eden Hazard is the same. So hard to get hold of. Oliver we've looked at as an alternative to Pogba, but he looks very, very similar to what we've already got as a deep line playmaker, and I'd rather only upgrade, not step sideways. Chamberlain is one of the main ones that I want. He's very interested. I actually got him onto the transfer list, and they wanted 24 million. I offered 24 million and they rejected it. Up front, they rejected it. So I thought, okay, that's a bit weird. Maybe it's because he's a rival club, he's Arsenal. So I offered 30 million and they rejected it. This is all negotiable, but straight up rejecting it. Bearing in mind, he's at 24 million asking price. So if another club went in for 24 million, they'd get him. So I then offered 35 million and they rejected it. And then 40 million, still rejected it. And this whole time, he was on the transfer list. If you know why that is, considering I offered nearly double his asking price, if you know why that is, put it in the comment section below. But he's now off the transfer list, and I've actually been trying my hardest to get him back on. Nearly signed Cristiano Ronaldo, because I know he's obviously dropped. He's 32 now. He wants 500 to 700k a week, but we can get him for 3.1 to 4.3 million. Who else? Ibrahimovic I can sign on a free at the end of the season, but he wants a lot of money still. But shirt sales will probably cover it anyway. Lukaku, I obviously mentioned, he does want to join, but I can't quite get him on the transfer list. And Chelsea are just continuing to just reject the bids. And who else? I went for Bale, but Bale wanted the same sort of wages as Ronaldo, and I'd probably have to spend about 60, 70 million on him. and the rest are basically just regens that I'm also looking at. So I think that's everything covered. Training wise, everything's normal. I'm not doing anything sort of any different. Same with tactics. Still sticking with this 4-2-3-1. Obviously, but down to player role. Royce is an inside forward, but Januzaj will be a winger. Lucas Moura is a winger, but Lamela would be an inside forward. So as they rotate, they change. Everything else, the spine doesn't change. The left and right backs don't change role-wise. Then we have the central version of it. If I wanted to play more attacking midfielders, but I don't use that very often. To be honest with you, I might get rid of that and try and maybe train a sort of a 4-4-2 or something like that when we need to chase a goal. The 4-1-2-2-1 was technically a 4-3-3. I use that when I'm defending a lead. Not very often though. I just tend to change the instructions or the mentality to something like, I basically can't play on the counter all the time, but to something like maybe defensive or attacking or control, whatever I want to do in the game really. So that's a quick look at the tactics. Facility wise, we have now completed the training facilities. They've now been upgraded. They finished on the 12th of this month, and same with the youth facilities, also finished on the 12th of this month. We have a stadium expansion going on, and that is due to finish on the 18th of June in 2019, so 18th of June next year. I think that's about it. We have a lot of money, which is why I've been going for the names I've been going for. Upwards of 223 million, which I've never seen. Bearing in mind I've probably spent about 30 on regens in this window. And I mean the wages, I can have double the wages. So there's a lot there for what we can do. I think that's pretty much it. So finances wise, we're projected to get 488 million. So it's projected to almost double our balance, and that's obviously not depending on how we get on the Champions League and sponsorships for next year and things like that. So very, very happy financially with what's going on. We've obviously cleared the debt. Nothing's changed with the owners. I haven't seen many clubs be bought out for a lot of money or anything in this save, unfortunately, but when they do, I'll let you know. But I think that's it. So thanks very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this episode. I know this has been a little bit of a longer episode, but I wanted to go a little bit more detail about exactly what was going on. A lot of people were asking questions in previous episodes. Perhaps I haven't been covering it in enough detail, so I apologise for that, but I hope this has been enough detail. But yeah, like I said, I hope you've enjoyed it. Hit that like button if you want to. It shows me that you're still enjoying them. And I'll carry on with this Man United save, and obviously new episodes will be more consistent hopefully in the future. But thanks very much for watching. You'll be listening to FM Campbell, and I'll see you in the next episode. Cheers, guys.